Okay, so I got this second piece here cut, laid in place. I'm going to screw it down. And I should probably plug in that fan. It's pretty muggy in here. Okay, so this hatch is roughed in. And this is the one, again, that's going to get bolts into the angle with the riv nuts. So now I'm going to put the second tank in over here. I'm going to pop those cross supports off. And I'll layer in the plywood like I did on this side. Okay, so I've got the base for the tank put in here. Now I got to screw it down, and then I'll put some more of the 2x3s on the side to hold it in. And at that point, I'll be ready to put the second tank down. Okay, so the second 100-gallon tank also fit like a glove. Now I'm going to build this trapdoor top. So I just put these two side supports on the couch. I'm going to do that one and this piece next on the other side. Okay, so I have all the supports laid out and marked again. Now I'm going to go get the 30-inch piece that I cut for the top here. Okay, so I've got that top put in place. I have one more piece of subfloor on this platform to do. In between those two 2x4s, we'll take a quick measurement. I might have a piece already cut for that. I'll take a look. Okay, so I have that board in. It'll go up against the entertainment center. This 2x4 will support the structure of the entertainment center. And so at this point I've got the platform here in the front built out with subfloor. I got the tanks in. I'm still thinking about whether I'm using that third tank for fresh water or not. I may use it somehow for the gray water to kind of try to match the capacity a little bit better. So anyhow, I think that's it for today. Okay, so I'm at the bus here. I think what I'm going to do today is fill in the lower part of the wall with some insulation as much as I can. I've got that sheet there and then two other ones in the pavilion. I'm just going to cut pieces to go in this lower part under the platform floor up to about here. Do this front section as much as I can with the material I have for now. That will let me make some progress here on flooring and stuff. So I don't want to put the flooring in until I've got the side walls built up a little bit. So my intention on the lower part until it angles would be to use some long rivets to hold 3/4 plywood in place as the side wall. So I also will need to rough in some new 12-volt wiring there for the marker lights and such. So, or at least make sure I have a hole drilled for those to come through the wood on the side wall. Alright, so I've just wedged 2 layers of 1-inch insulation in here. I'm going to hit this with the spray can on the gaps here after I'm done putting the pieces in. I just cut it 26 inches wide. The rough opening's 27, but there's rivets. Well, not on this part, but up here there's rivets, so I guess I could cut this a little bit thicker or a little wider. But that way I can spray foam the gap and have some room for expansion. Okay, so the time has come to remove the stop sign. That's what I'm doing right now. Now that was way easier than I expected it to be. It was only 5 screws and snipping some wires. I just labeled the bundle of wires on the inside as stop arm so I don't lose track of what they went to. So anyhow, I think I'll offer this up to our family friend Dennis for his man cave. He might want another strange decoration in his man cave. He collects just odd items to put in there for amusement. So a flashing stop sign could be fun. Okay, so I'm making progress here on the insulation. A lot of people do spray foam, but this board is locally only $8 a board. And I just can't beat the economics of it, even though I have a friend who does spray foam. Even with a friend deal, this is way cheaper. These factory seconds of insulation. So it's not pretty, but after I put the spray can to the cracks here, this will be every bit as good as a spray foam job at a fraction of the price. I just can't argue with having access to this insulation at $8 a sheet. So anyhow, that side's done. I'm now putting pieces in this side. So I'm just trying to leave a little bit of a gap so I can seal it up with the foam. Need about a 1/4 inch or so of a gap on each side, 1/2 inch. So anyway, progress. Okay, so I've got most of this insulation in the bottom front done. I just ran out of boards, so I'll have to go back to Punxsutawney and get more from Crazy Dave. So anyhow, that's where I'm at. Okay, so I'm back at the bus here after a couple weeks away. We had a vacation and a little camping trip over last weekend on the river. But anyhow, my next step here I think is going to be to remove this front bumper. I want to be able to access under the front driver area to get to bolt heads and things as I put the track in and the flooring in to mount the driver's seats. So I'm going to take this safety guard bar off and start undoing bolts on this front bumper. This is sort of the point in the project where I've got 5 or 6 different little projects going on at the same time, so bear with me. So right now I'm using that electric impact with a 3/4 huge socket, 3/4 drive, to try to take these big nuts off the bumper. I've got them spinning, but I need to get a pipe wrench or something on the back of it to hold the back side of the bolt. So these things are massive. But anyhow, just got to find a pipe wrench or something, and we'll be able to take this bumper off. Okay, so on the back side, I have an old pipe wrench holding that nut up against the frame, and I got this beast going here. 20 years of rust on a bolt. Don't think this bumper's ever been off since it was built. We'll get her off here. And that is a serious damn bolt right there. Holy moly. I'll have to clean that up before you put it back in place. Now I'm going to do that second bolt. Then the bumper should fall off. Hopefully it doesn't smash me as it does. But I'm going to put the pipe wrench on the back side of that one. Okay, so I just snipped the wires on this sensor here, or electromagnet, whatever that is, and this arm here, I snipped the wires there so when the bumper falls it doesn't rip the wires. So I'm just about ready to finish undoing the bolt on that right side. Again, the whole point of this is so I can access easily underneath the floor in the front without having to jack the bus up. And that's so that I can get the seat mounted on airline track, or the 2 seats in the front mounted on airline track, so that they can be slid back and forth. Alright, so I got the bumper loosened. I did not realize that this guard here for curbs or rocks or whatever for the stairwell was attached at the bottom of the stairwell, so I hope it didn't do any damage. But I'm going to undo these bolts here now with the impact and see if I can get the bumper fully off. Alright, so those 2 bastards don't want to cooperate, so it's time to use the most important wrench in bus conversion, the angle iron wrench. So we'll get them out. And once again, the $20 Walmart angle grinder earned its keep. Okay, so I'm not sure to what degree I'm going to reuse this bumper. My intention here is to build a custom front bumper / moose guard type deal, maybe with an integrated toolbox or something. You know, but I'm not sure if this bumper, which is awfully heavy, is going to be part of that design or not. It all depends on whether I'm going to have a slide out drawer for storage or for generator or something like that under this front cab area. I've actually thought about fabricating a slide out drawer for the generator, because that'll keep the noise away from where we sleep at night if the generator needs to run. So anyhow, just a thought. A lot of things kicking around. That's what's great about this. You get to think about things 6 ways to Sunday as you build. So, but regardless, I'm going to take this this safety arm off right now with that wrench and the impact driver here, or impact wrench. What do you call that? Electric impact wrench, I guess. So anyhow, that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so we got the stop arm off, and we've got the bumper off. I'm going to take this bracket off next. Then I'll set the bumper aside, and the stop arm can get set in the pile of junk. Who knows if we'll do anything with it. Maybe the mechanism is useful for something, who knows. But could just be amusing. But for now, I've got this bumper off, and we'll be able to access under the floor there without jacking the bus up. I'm going to have to weigh that bumper for amusement. It must weigh at least 150 pounds. Very heavy. So, not sure if it's getting reused or if I'm going to custom fab something else. I'm probably leaning towards custom fabrication. We'll have to see. But anyhow, mission accomplished. Got the bastard off. It's just a little bit obnoxious to do. Now I'm going to clean up my work area and call it quits for the night. It's starting to get dark earlier. Alright, so recently bus work has slowed down a little bit. Right now I am going through this pile of seats and scrap metal, and I'm going to make a junk run. Turns out I won't be using the seat frames for anything. I thought I might use them for supports or struts or something, but you know, I decided I'm going to live in it. I'll buy new metal for projects. Tubing's a little hard to work with anyway, but anyhow, so getting these seat backs cut off the seats, and I'm putting them on the utility trailer. I'll run to the scrap yard to get a little pocket money from the steel. So, but work has been pretty slow on the bus. I've done vacations and trips and stuff for the last few weeks with the family, so it'll pick back up again here for the fall months. So I'm continuing to take the back covers off of these bus seats that have been sitting here for almost a year. So we're going to take the metal on the trailer here to the scrap yard. So that's the plan. Okay, so making progress on these seats. It's a warm September Sunday evening. Pile's getting smaller here. This is harder work than it looks, getting these seat backs off. They're rusted on, the fabric's rusted on a bit. It's a lot of pulling and tugging and cutting. So anyhow, keeping on at it. Okay, so at this point I've got the utility trailer all bundled up with rope holding the seats down. So it's ready to go to the metal yard and get whatever weight it is. I'm sure it's not worth the effort, but at least it gets rid of the metal. So I'm not going to use that for anything. I'd rather buy new metal to work with for the remaining projects. Okay, so what I'm doing today for a little bit here is I'm going to take a wire wheel and get rid of the excess Sikaflex around these rivets. Then I'm going to use some polyurethane adhesive and fill the middle voids of the rivets just to make sure we're not letting water in. Just putting a bead over there like so. Just filling up the holes. And then I'll end up sanding again, but I'm going to also hit the rusty spots here before the winter weather hits. I want to get these spots that are starting to rust up a little bit wheeled, and I'm going to hit them with some red oxide primer. Just kind of get this prep done so that I'll be ready to finish the insulation inside. I want to make sure I do not have anything leaking behind the insulation. So we're getting it from the outside, and then I'm doing the rubberized paint on the inside as well. So that's what I'm up to today. Okay, so I swirled and scuffed the paint with the wheel, and I got the little rust spots off here. I got the excess caulk and rust off the top. Now I'm going to hit it with this Magic Red Oxide primer. And I'm not sure how many of these I'll go through by the time I finish the sides of the bus, but it's a good product. So I wanted a different color so I could see where I'd already done easily, other than this gray primer I was using. So anyhow, at this point I'm going to spray this little patch, go lower, and then move the ladder and keep going. Alright, so that's all the more that the spray primer did. Given that can was like $6 or $7, and I have primer in a gallon jug, I think next time I come out here I'm just going to go back to the gray primer and brush it on, or roller it on as I go, just so I don't go broke in paint here. But anyhow, I'm going to keep going here. I got another can of primer. I'll keep moving down the line. Okay, so using that soft wire wheel, got this panel done. I'll probably spray this down, and I may be out of spray primer at that point. So this might be all I get done tonight. So we'll see how far I get. Okay, here's a good reference if you're thinking of rattle can spray painting a bus. This here is about how much the 2 cans of primer covered. So that would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, almost 16 cans of primer just to do this side of the bus, where a gallon of the brush on paint, or spray on by the gallon oil paint at Tractor Supply is like $35 to $50 depending on which one you pick. So yeah, clearly this is not economical. I was hoping for more coverage. Like I said, I'm going to switch back to the gray primer here. Probably brush over this as well, but I intend to do quite a bit of sanding before we do the final paint, and I'm also going to do a skim coat of whatever that skim coat Bondo stuff is. I'll be putting a very thin coat of that on to hide orange peel and other little imperfections as much as I can. But you know, ultimately I just want the bus not to be rusty. It doesn't have to be beautiful. I'm not pretentious. I really don't care what people think. I just want it to be decent enough that I'm not going to get pulled over by every local cop looking like a hippie. So anyway, that's it. Alright, so I'm here at Crazy Dave's Insulation in Punxsutawney again. I'm getting 2 pallets of 2-inch insulation 4x4s, and this will do the side walls and the ceiling. So that's what we're up to. Okay, so I'm back at the bus here on a Friday evening. I'm going to go inside and spray rubberized paint on the inside on the rivet lines. That way I can, once that dries, I can put the insulation in place. The temperature is cooling off. It's only 60 degrees right now. So before I do the outside, I'm going to go ahead and, there you go, where I did the primer there. I'm going to go eventually here. I'm going to put the primer on the side after cleaning up the caulk on the rivets. I think right now I'm going to bounce inside though and get ready to put insulation in. Well, then while that's drying, I'll probably come out here. But my goal is to get the insulation inside so that I can, before the snow hits, so that I can keep the heat in the bus while I try to work on the walls and fixtures and plumbing and electrical in there during the cold weather. So anyhow, getting it insulated is sort of higher on my priority list right now. So anyhow, I hope I'm not rambling too much here, but that's what I'm going to do. I'll be spraying the rubberized paint on the inside of the rivets. Okay, so as evidenced by my hands, probably should have been wearing gloves. I used that leak stopper spray, and I did as much as 2 cans would let me do, spraying the walls where the rivets are. That way when this dries, well, this side I need 1 more can for. That way as this dries, I can put the insulation board in place. And the inside is sealed, also sealed at the top. So need another can or so here to finish the job. But honestly, in here right now, it's I'm getting kind of lightheaded. The spray cans are putting out some serious fumes. So I think with the back and this spot that needs sprayed, I need about 2 more cans to get this job done. But for now, I've got at least a whole side here that I can put foam board up on. So I think I might start cutting the foam board to the right dimension. All right, so right now I'm going to put some plywood down on the floor here, 3/4, to strengthen this floor up into this platform. Should be about 3 sheets. I think 3 sheets ought to do it, actually. A full sheet in the back with a notch on the right-hand side there. And then about 2 sheets to do here, and then with that gap in the middle. I want to do that because I'm going to be putting hardwood floor directly down. You know, the composite floor will go directly onto that section there. I'm going to have the jacuzzi tub and all of its weight here. So I don't want all that weight on the OSB layer of that insulation board. And then for extra support here, I'm going to have 2x with the plywood going up and down at the seams here where the angle iron was. I've got to add that in, but there'll be plywood strips. I've got the couch fabrication out of the hole there, but it'll also have plywood supporting up and down to the floor. So there's not going to be a lot of weight on the actual floor there per square inch. But over here, we're going to have quite a bit of weight, so I don't want to dimple the OSB layer of that insulation board. So that's why there's a layer of plywood going down. And then eventually I will, with 1/2-inch plywood, I'll cap the couch area back there. So I'll cut some boards, bring them in, move stuff out of the way, and we'll start screwing them down. All right, so I have this piece of plywood in place. I'm going to wedge it closer to the door with the hammer, and then we'll screw it down in. One thing to be aware of is that these rigid lips, they make you have to cut the plywood shorter than you'd otherwise like to. You know, but this side here is going to be basically behind the jacuzzi tub, so it's not a real big deal. I'll just leave the gap on this side over here. But yeah, we'll get some more pieces cut after I screw this one in. We'll take some measurements and we'll have the floor strengthened here. All right, so I've got that first piece of plywood there screwed down. I'll use galvanized screws, and just in case I get any moisture. But at this point, I'm going to move things aside and start measuring for these, clean up the floor with the broom and vacuum a bit. So should be about 2 more sheets worth estimated, and plus a little scrap, I believe. Okay, so I have this piece cut to go back by the back bench. I notched out where the cooling lines fittings come into the bus. So I'm going to walk in and put this in place and screw it down. Okay, so I've screwed down this plywood in the back. Had it notched over in the corner. That's where I intend to pass the 12-volt lines back to the motor, back to the taillights, etc. Through the old cooling or heating system connectors there, along with any electrical connections to the back. Things like this line here that goes through there. Well, actually it goes through conduit, but I don't know. That was my thought, is I'd use that as a pass-through. But anyhow, I got that piece of plywood in place. I'm going to put another one there and a square right here.